We will be learning about oxidation pond and aerobic digestions. This two secondary wastewater treatment is still under the aerobic processes. What is an oxidation pond? An oxidation pond, also known as stabilization pond or lagoon, is an expansive, shallow bodies of water especially engineered for wastewater treatment, harnessing the interplay of sunlight, bacteria, and algae. This treatment mechanism relies on the principles of microbial degradation and oxidation to break down organic matter and remove pollutants. Within these ponds, algae thrive by utilizing solar energy, carbon dioxide, and inorganic compounds generated by waterborne bacteria. Through the process of photosynthesis, algae release essential oxygen supporting the activities of aerobic bacteria. The treatment in oxidation ponds is driven by biological processes, chemical processes, physical processes. Under the biological processes are bacterial degradation, algal photosynthesis, and protozoa and zooplankton. Let us further discuss its component under the biological process, starting with bacteria degradation. Bacteria are the primary agent responsible for breaking down organic matter. In the presence of oxygen, bacteria degrade organic material, converting it to simpler compounds like carbon dioxide and water. In anaerobic condition, in the lower layer or deeper ponds, anaerobic bacteria break down organic matter into methane, hydrogen sulfide, and carbon dioxide. Next is algal photosynthesis. Algae in the pond play a crucial role by producing oxygen through photosynthesis during daylight. This oxygen is used by aerobic bacteria in the upper layers of the pond to break down organic material. Lastly, protozoa and zooplankton. These microorganisms help in consuming bacteria and algae, contributing to the reduction of organic matter and suspended solids in the wastewater. Under chemical processes are oxygen transfer, nutrient removal. In oxygen transfer, oxygen enters to the pond through diffusion at the air-water interface and through the photosynthetic activity of algae. In aerobic and facultative ponds, the oxygen availability in the upper layer is crucial for the biological degradation of organic matter. Oxidation pond treatments mechanism in nutrient removal. The algae in the ponds take up nutrients such as nitrogen and phosphorus for their growth. In facultative and aerobic ponds, some nutrient removal occurs through the algal uptake and the settling of biomass. The processes in physical mechanism are sedimentation, solar radiation. In sedimentation, suspended solids, including organic particles and dead microbial cells, settle at the bottom of the pond where anaerobic decomposition occurs. The settled sludge in the gradation broken down by anaerobic bacteria. In solar radiation, sunlight provides energy for photosynthesis and helps it the natural disinfection the pathogen in the upper layers of the pond. There are three main types of oxidation ponds, each with different operational mechanisms depending on the depth and natural biological processes. Facultative ponds, aerobic ponds, and anaerobic ponds. Facultative ponds are the most common type of oxidation ponds and operate through a combination of aerobic and anaerobic processes. It has a depth typically between 1 to 2 meters. It is suitable for treating domestic wastewater and industrial effluent. The facultative pond is stratified in two layers. The upper layer is aerobic, where oxygen from the atmosphere and the photosynthetic algae are available for bacteria to degrade organic matter, while the lower layer is anaerobic, where organic matter settles and is broken down by anaerobic bacteria. Methane and carbon dioxide are the byproducts of this anaerobic process. Aerobic ponds are designed to support aerobic processes throughout their entire depth, usually through artificial aeration or shallow depth to allow natural oxygen. Typically, it has depth of zero point 0.5 to 1 meters. These are used where the goal is for faster treatment if the space is available for large and shallow ponds. In aerobic ponds, oxygen is supplied either by diffusion from the surface or by mechanical aeration to promote the growth of aerobic bacteria which rapidly degrade organic matter. While in anaerobic ponds are designed to operate entirely without oxygen, relying on anaerobic bacteria to degrade the organic matter. Usually, it is deeper in facultative ponds around 3 to 5 meters. It is used for treating high-strength industrial wastewater or as a preliminary treatment stage before facultative or aerobic ponds. Organic matter settle down to the bottom where it is broken down by aerobic bacteria into methane, carbon, and other gases. Here are the advantages of an oxidation ponds. It is known to be cost-effective. Oxidation ponds are inexpensive to construct and operate, making them ideal for small communities or regions with limited financial resources. It is also known for its low energy requirements. These systems typically require little to no external energy inputs as they rely on natural processes, sunlight, and microbial activity for treatment. Only occasional aeration or pumping may be needed. It is also known to be simple in operation and maintenance. The operation of oxidation ponds is straightforward, requiring minimal mechanical equipment and monitoring. Maintenance typically involves revolving sludge periodically, usually every few years. It is also known for its nutrient removal. Algae in the ponds can remove nutrients such as nitrogen and phosphorus, which is beneficial in reducing the risk of eutrophication in receiving water bodies. Despite the known advantages, treatment plants owner have recorded some disadvantages of oxidation ponds, one of which is the required land area. One of the main drawbacks of oxidation ponds is the significant land area needed, especially in comparison to more compact treatment technologies like activated sludge or tickling filters. It is also known to have a climate dependence. The efficiency of oxidation ponds is highly dependent on the environmental conditions. Cold weather can slow down biological activity, reducing the treatment efficiency and leading to the need for larger ponds or longer retention time. It is also known to have a potential or bad odor. Aerobic condition in the deep or overloaded ponds can produce foul odors due to the production of hydrogen sulfide and other gases. Another disadvantages of oxidation ponds is the effluent quality variability. The quality of the effluent can vary with environmental conditions, organic load, and retention time. This may require further treatment or policing before discharge, particularly if stringent effluent quality standard must be met. Also, it is known to have a pathogen removal disadvantages. Although sunlight and extended retention time can reduce pathogen, oxidation ponds may not achieve the level of disinfection required for certain effluent uses. Example, for potable use, reuse, or discharge into sensitive environment. Now, let us move to another part, secondary wastewater treatment under aerobic processes, which is known as aerobic digestion. Aerobic digestion is a biological process used for treatment of waste material like sewage sludge, food waste, or agricultural residue. This process occurs in the presence of oxygen and involves microorganisms that break down the organic matter into simpler substances such as carbon dioxide, water, and relatively stable residue. Aerobic digestion is widely used in wastewater treatment plants and composting systems due to its efficiency in reducing the volume of organic waste and converting it into less harmful or more usable byproducts. Aerobic digestion is the degradation of organic sludge solids into in the presence of oxygen. The oxygen is introduced as fine bubbles of air into the reactor, while the microorganisms in the sludge convert the organic material to carbon dioxide and water, and the ammonia and amino species to nitrate. Aerobic digestion resembles the conventional activated sludge process but excludes a wastewater feed and employs longer solid retention time. There is no feed water entering the system and therefore no new supply of organic substrate to sustain the microorganism. Thus, microorganisms begin to die and are used as food by other bacteria, or it is what we call the indigenous respiration, and is responsible for reducing the sludge's organic solids concentration. In aerobic digestion, there are key steps and processes, one of which is the hydrolysis. In this initial stage, complex organic molecules like carbohydrates, fats, and proteins are broken down into simpler compounds such as sugar, fatty acids, and amino acids. This process prepares the organic matter for further degradations. Another key steps and processes is the oxidation of organic matter. The microorganism present in the aerobic environment consumed by simpler organic compounds using oxygen as electron acceptor. This leads to the conversion of organic matter into carbon dioxide, water, and energy. This energy is used by the microorganism for their metabolic processes. Another key steps and processes is the biomass growth. As microorganisms consume organic matter, they grow and reproduce, increasing the biomass of bacteria in the system. This biomass is also subject for further degradations. Another key steps and processes is stabilization of organic matter. Over time, the organic matter becomes increasingly stabilized, meaning it is less reactive and more resistant to further decomposition. The end product of aerobic digestions include stabilized organic material, water, and carbon dioxide. Now, there are factors affecting the aerobic digestions, one of which is the oxygen supply. Since aerobic microorganisms require oxygen to function, the process efficiency depends on how well oxygen is supplied to the system. Insufficient oxygen can lead to incomplete digestions or even the onset of anaerobic condition, which may cause foul odors. One factor also is the temperature. Aerobic digestion in temperature dependent with optimal rates of decomposition typically occurring at mesophilic. It is between 20 to 40 degrees Celsius or thermophilic, which is 50 to 60 degrees Celsius temperature. Thermophilic conditions can speed up the process but require more energy for heating. Another factor affecting aerobic digestion is the pH level. The pH of the system should be maintained within neutral range, typically between 6.5 to 8 to support optimal microbial activity. Extreme pH levels can inhibit the growth and activity of microorganisms. Another factor is the retention time. This factors refers to the amount of time the waste material spends in the digester. Longer retention times allows for more complete digestions, but they also require larger system. Another factor affecting aerobic digestion is the nutrient balance. Microorganisms need a balance of nutrients including carbon, nitrogen, and phosphorus to efficiently break down organic matter. An imbalance may slow down the digestion process. Now, aerobic digestion is known to have advantages, one of which is the reduction of waste volume. Aerobic digestion significantly reduces the volume of organic waste, making it easier to handle and dispose. It is also known to have an odor control. When operated properly, aerobic systems produce fewer offensive odors compared to anaerobic digestions, which can generate sulfur compounds and methane. It is also known to have an stabilization of organic matter. The end products of aerobic digestions are stable, meaning they are less likely to cause environmental harm. The remaining organic material can be used as fertilizer or soil conditioner. Another advantages of aerobic digestion is the reduction of pathogens. Aerobic digestions, particularly at higher temperatures, can reduce pathogens levels in the waste, making the end product safer for reuse or disposal. However, aerobic digestion is known to have also disadvantages, and one of which is being an energy intensive. Aerobic digestion requires a constant supply of oxygen, which means that energy must be expended to aerate the system, especially in large-scale operations. It is also known to have slower decomposition of recalcitrant materials. While aerobic digestion is effective at breaking down readily biodegradable materials, it is less effective for more recalcitrant substances like lignin. Another disadvantages of aerobic digestion is for being limited biogas production. Unlike anaerobic digestions, aerobic digestions does not produce significant amounts of methane or other biogases.